Welcome back to Guest Talk Podcast, where we talk about spirituality, relationships, and so much more. This is our introduction series, episode 3.
Yes, and we'll be introducing the middle siblings. So I'm gonna ask the questions. You guys will answer, and we'll just natural conversation. Don't think too hard. Okay? That's it.
Okay.
So first question. Let's introduce who you are and then what number do you fall in the siblings line?
I'm Janay. I am the middle of 9.
Which number are you?
I am number 5.
Okay, go ahead. Next.
I am Derald, and I am the 4th oldest.
Okay. And there is also David, but he's not going to be a part of this. He'll probably be coming in on other content later, but we couldn't get him in turn right now. So we're going to just move on. First question, we can start with DJ since he's older, and then you can answer after. What is your perspective on life before we moved to Maryland and growing up in our Christian household?
My perspective of life before Edgewood,
Before
and you
marriage.
said, and growing up in a Christian household. So I would say before we came to Edgewood, we lived in Philly mostly. I would say a lot of living with people and roaches and just hood stuff.
Okay, like what memories did you have from growing up? Like things that are that stuck out to you the most? Things that,
Any
before
traumatic experiences? Any
All type of
happy
traumatic
experiences?
Life before Edgewood, just changing different schools a lot. Pretty much a lot of moving around from house to house. That's all that is.
Okay, so Jenny, what's your perspective on life before we moved to Maryland?
Before moving to Maryland, it was the instability. Instability?
Instability.
Why is she giving me the face of instability? I said it wrong. Instability, where the stability wasn't established completely. So, so I remember just like moving to South Philly. It was a 2-bedroom, and 9 children, well, 8 at the time, were piled up on a bunk bed. So I remember just the feeling of not having a stable living situation. If we weren't piled up on one bunk bed, we were all piled in one room. If we were when we were in South Philly, West Philly as well. So the living situation was always rough. The trauma from roaches was real. It was like roads of them. Just not knowing until I grew up that the households were probably not the best for children at that time, especially the one in South Philly. It was definitely not for children. West Philly had too many people going in and out of the doors, doing too many things. So just the covering of children in their household, even though it was family, you can't trust everybody, and they had brought their friends. It was just a lot of movement in West Philly. So from West Philly to South Philly, just Philly alone, it wasn't the best experience for a child at the age of 8. Just that instability right there.
So you didn't really enjoy being in Philly when you were in Philly?
I enjoyed hoagies. I enjoyed cheese sticks. I did not enjoy roaches. I did not enjoy having to never experience having my own room. I didn't enjoy never being able to have nice clothes or nice shoes, or never having my own real toys because it was so many people. We couldn't get
Or
toys.
being so dangerous in the neighborhood
That you weren't even allowed to go nowhere.
Get off the porch or
We
leave
were
the corner.
most of the time in Philly. We were porch bound.
We couldn't leave the block.
We were
At least.
definitely porch bound, and it'd be like 30 of us on the porch. It was epic. Us and all of
Until
our
you got old
cousins.
enough to
Yeah.
wander to the corner of the block.
Yep. That was as far as it. But it came to a benefit though because remember that it was an accident.
It was a lot of stuff.
Like
going
always on the corner. If you
Yeah.
stepped off the corner, it was an accident right there. So it was kind of like as looking back at it now, it's like oh, it was a reason. It was constant accidents.
I want us to kind of lead on to sharing more like your memories with Daddy, sharing how he was as a father, what it was like learning, and what was it like for you learning that your dad was murdered? First, start off with just sharing how he was as a father, like growing up with him, his structure of, of life.
My daddy was very militant, big on respect, a man of few words, but when he said something, you moved. He worked 2-3 jobs if he had to, whatever he needed to do to provide, and for us to never go back to what we once experienced. So he would work hard working man, and also would come home and cook and clean and help with homework. He did it all.
Okay, so how was it for you learning about him being murdered? Like, what was that? Going back to those memories of that time, what was you feeling? What was going on through your head? Like, just, what was it like for you understanding and learning that your dad was murdered?
When I learned my dad was murdered, anger, revenge, cold-heartedness, like, basically, my heart was just kind of, I didn't want to lose anybody like that again, so I kind of just cut off.
You allow people to get close.
Yeah, I wouldn't allow anyone to get close. I would just cut off all emotional ties pretty much around that time.
Yeah, so same here. He was very militant, but also a good father, especially for his girls. He was always there to just hug you and to coddle you and to talk to you and to tell you that you're beautiful and to work with you on homework, especially homework, because I was struggling in math. I remember him just always, I got you. He said, before I go to work, I'm going to make sure you knock out this math. We're going to get you to understand. He was always there for education. Just very loving, very patient. Strong beliefs on in faith alone, believing that you pray for everything, you talk to God, you seek His face before you do anything, move with God. And he was very stern in it. A man who always carried his Bible, always had his Bible with him, died with his Bible. So yeah. So even when it comes down to him being murdered, it kind of left this feeling of you believe in God so much that you know what the Bible says. If you believe that, in the Bible, God rose again from the dead. So I think for me, it was more so I believed he was going to raise it up. I'm like, I didn't even cry at his funeral because I'm just waiting for him to get up. What we doing? I even remember talking to DJ and David about it. Like, so what? He could get up. They're like, yeah, because, in the Bible, he rose again. Jesus rose again. It's probably one of those type things. So it was one of those situations where we didn't believe it. It took me a long time to believe he wasn't coming back because in my mind I was set that I believe in God, Daddy believed in God, so he's coming back. He's coming. We just gotta wait.
Go ahead, what you gonna say?
Now as we have gotten older, looking back, was that a healthy mentality to carry?
Probably not, because it's not a sense of healing ever.
But why not?
Because it's not us. You're not letting go of the back. Like somebody just died.
I mean, at some point she said she understood
right,
that
it took us
happen.
a couple of years though for us to get to the point.
We had to accept it.
To accept it, truly accept it, and
That's
like he's gone. he's gone. Cause it was like a year long of just like, oh no, he's coming back. Don't worry. Oh, I think I saw Daddy, or I just had a dream about him. So that means he's coming back. And to kind of feed that hope, I don't think it was a positive thing to do. To feed it, you should just let it go and carry on with life. That's what I do.
Okay. Is there any other like memories that you want to like share and like touch on of like just growing up in your youth and whatnot, things that went on, any memories that you like really stuck out?
I would say maybe summertime out Philly. This is before Ezra, right?
Either in Edgewood or before, however, you know, any memories that really
before
stick out to you.
Edgewood, it would be summertimes out Philly, block parties, water ice, pretzels, double dutch on the block. I already said block parties. So.
Yeah, their unity.
Yeah, just the community.
Their sense of family.
Yeah, the sense of family and community of the block for real was really. I miss that.
Do you remember when we tried to bring it to Edgewood? When we tried to do the block party?
Yeah, we brought that culture actually. So to fast forward to when we actually moved to Edgewood, we kind of brought that culture to the block when we moved to Edgewood to B Court.
Because we got the petition signed to have the block party. Michael had got the stage put up in the grass, and we had a whole like thing.
And all our neighbors were pretty much cool. Even another story was when I had gotten into an altercation in front of the house, and 3 of my neighbors came outside to fight with me. So it was like you don't really get that type of community, that type of family in the county or like in a court. This is not the block. You in a court, a cul-de-sac or something like that. You feel me? But just cause the type of culture and the type of energy we carry, they rocked out with us no matter what we did. Like our neighbors, our brothers, our friends, they was there for us. Yeah.
Do you remember ever like serving the community with Dad at all? I know Michelle and Shamar and Michael, they're older, so they kind of have more memories going back of like different things with Dad and things that he did. Do you remember like him serving the community ever, or like church, going like any like things like that Dad kind of like instilled in us growing up? Like, do you remember anything like that?
I do. He used to be our
or like Bible
teacher.
Study teacher or not
at church.
At church.
He was our
the
youth pastor. That's what he was.
Yeah.
So yeah, he definitely impacted, and he was our substitute too. So our school substitute. So he actually impacted us in spirituality by teaching us, the Bible, the Word, and how to do it in a community, in a group of people our own age by using the youth around us. So that really did impact our lives because it impacted them too because they still talk about him today. Same as when he was substituting I remember personally substituting from my 5th grade class, and him being killed shortly after that. But substituting for that class, him teaching them Michael's raps and like teaching the kids about God through music. He didn't like inflict it. He just was like, hey, during certain times I'm going to do push-ups to motivate y'all to do this work, and I'm also going to play some rap music for y'all. And it was just because it was a beat that was nice. They didn't care what was being played, but it was something positive, some positive type of music, which he was always positively impacting children, and that was his thing. Impacting children. That's my main memories, is him just always finding a way or a certain niche to change somebody's life. Like, how can I do it without just throwing God in your face? I'm going to do it, through music, through entertainment, through some type of form of just interaction.
Now, looking back, as an adult and coming from a place of understanding and grace and understanding of how we all kind of was going through grieving and losing daddy, and we all were, going through this all together and going back with a mindset of understanding and grace. What decisions do you think you would choose to do differently to maintain the structure of our family? And just like I asked the older siblings, like I just gave them some examples like therapy or like being more of a support to mom of some sort. I said financial support for them because they were older, but y'all wouldn't have been able to be a financial support. But anything do you feel like, in any choices that you made around that time, would want to have done differently?
I would say definitely I would have took therapy.
Do you
And I would
remember?
occur.
I'm sorry, I'm gonna interrupt. But do you remember when mom asked about therapy, or you don't really remember?
I remember when therapy was asked, and I remember when therapy was rejected.
Oh, okay.
I remember both, and when it was rejected by all of us, though, like, I mean, there was really not. I don't remember one person saying, "Yeah, let's do therapy."
Yeah.
I don't think I remember anybody saying that.
Yeah, because at that age, it was a stigma behind it where only white people and crazy kids get therapy. And we could not accept that we was crazy to get therapy. Even though it would have probably helped us to grow up to be better functioning adults, mentally, physically, and emotionally. But at that time, especially on TV, you only seen white crazy people and their kids who was stabbing kids. We had crazy stuff, but still, it wasn't that crazy. Crazy enough for therapy. That's what our mentality
we
was.
didn't think we was crazy enough.
And we were all young. We weren't so we were all young, and we all were,
Even if we were
on
young, I
TV.
feel like the older ones, or even our mom, somebody should have took charge and made us go to therapy.
See, but you gotta also think about her mentality too. She wasn't raised in the era of therapy being
Right.
something,
Of
and she
course.
was young. So when you think about our ages now, she wasn't too much older than us. We got friends her age at that time who was 35, 36,
Right.
37. So their mentality was the same as ours. So she like, I mean, I'm not gonna push y'all because I don't know what I'm pushing y'all towards because I have no knowledge of this. You gotta think of that side. Like,
But I'm just speaking on what could change, what could have changed.
yeah, I mean, yeah.
Was the adults being adults and leading. In
But
a
at the same
positive
time,
way.
remember,
Everybody's
she not,
going through a grieving process.
Everybody is
and
going
she never
through-
been a
falling apart.
leader. She has never been
She's
a
always
leader.
been
So
a
you,
housewife, yeah.
I feel like if the men at that time, the younger men like Shamar, Michael, would have said, "Let's do it," she would have been more ready to do it because it would have been support behind the idea.
But they weren't raised that way either.
Exactly. So it's like, that's where therapy would have came in. They would have needed somebody, an outside source, to say, "Hey, I'm encouraging you to do."
Then they respected, like Uncle Jeff or something like
Yeah.
that said, "Hey, y'all should do therapy." Then we probably would have went that route. But you know what I mean? I feel like
But a lot of them
the route
about
I did
anything,
take
so-
though, the route I did take, even though I didn't take therapy, I kind of worked on myself, did therapy on myself a lot. I studied therapy. One of my best friends, he just graduated from being a therapist, and so I would bounce ideas off of him, or I would read one of his books like Therapy 101 and stuff like that. And so I would learn about the inner child and stuff, and kind of just work on myself and try different psychology tactics on myself, and it worked for the most part. I still got a lot to work on, but I'm definitely better than where I've been.
Okay, so back to the question. So what differently would have done, the choices that you made, what differently would you have done to maintain our family structure? Whoever wants to start.
What would we have done to maintain our
What would
family
you have done
structure?
differently to help maintain
What
the
I
structure?
would have done differently to maintain our family structure. I feel like not being one of the older ones, my voice wouldn't really been heard. So
What is something you wouldn't have seen?
something that I would have seen.
That you would have wanted to have seen?
Would want to see.
Yeah.
Would be I think just financial stuff, like us being smarter with our finances when we had the money, when we had the house. Just being more smarter with those, or intentional to get educated in those areas. Because that's a house that could have lasted generations. But maybe just the Bible, right? So like the Bible was a big thing that kept us together. And after Daddy died, it kind of, some of us questioned God. And so you got some who like blindly stayed in it, and then some who questioned God, and so there was a division in faith, and then also it kind of just divided in multiple other areas too. Like we all grieved in different ways, and so it just kind of like those two things, I guess, would be religion and just grieving.
And what aspect of religion though? Like you felt like we all should have.
We cause we used to have Bible study almost like once a week, pretty much.
Oh, you feel like that stuff should have stayed going on even after
those
Daddy
traditions.
died? Because Daddy was the one who would lead
He
Bible
was the
study
ones
every
who
week.
he was the one who would lead Bible study and call it, hey, we having Bible study this day. Da, 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 da. And so that holding those Bible studies, having those family prayers or
Worship.
family worship and stuff like that. When that had stopped, there was nobody to really, when there wasn't anyone to really call those meetings or call those gatherings, nobody felt like they was obligated to go. So everybody just started going their own way, started getting under their own teachings and doctrines, and kind of.
Okay. Okay, so for Janay, same question. What would you want to do, or what would you want it to have seen, or what would you want it to do differently to maintain our family structure?
I think mine would be more so the educational side. Just the pushing of more so educating ourselves in building wealth through just knowledge. I think having a parent who was pro education and one who was more so pro entrepreneurship, just knowing that if we were educated a little more on both education and entrepreneurship at a younger age, we would have been well established as adults, a lot better, more stable in our lives. Yeah, that's probably it, really, for me.
Okay. Well, we can wrap it up then.
Well, thank you for joining us today. You can find us on TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook. Good night.